Hey everyone, I'm Rhonda from Mrs. Green, and I'm here today because it's time for another round of Crafty Hangouts. This month, our sponsor is Coats & Clark, and they sent us this great product called Phoomph. I've never heard of it before, but I'm now a little bit obsessed with it. It's a product that you use with fabric. It's no sew, no iron. It's sort of like an interfacing, and I love this because I'm a fabric hoarder and I'm afraid of my sewing machine and I have an aversion to ironing. So this is a way to use all that fabric without having to do any of those things that I don't like. So let me show you what we're going to make with that today. We're going to make a reversible fabric mask. You see I've got blue on one side and green on the other. You could do this with any pairing of fabrics that you like, and you can do it in any shape that you want. We're going to do this one. You can see there's two different types of Phoomph. There's a soft, which is this one. You can see it's got lots of flex to it. But the problem with this kind of mask is, see with my glasses, I can't really get it to go on right. So depending on what kind you need, I'm going to make one for myself with the stiff variety, because that kind you can put on a stick and it'll stay nice and stiff, and I don't have to worry about whether or not I can wrap it around my glasses. So the type of mask that you're making will dictate which variety of Phoomph you get. I've got also a mask template. I just Googled printable mask template, and it came up with a whole bunch of different options, so I found a shape that I liked. This is the one I printed off my computer. Just to make it a little easier to trace, I traced it onto just a piece of cardboard out of the recycling bin. This is a lot easier to use on your fabric. You also need some sort of marker or pen. This pen writes really well on fabric and doesn't bleed, so that's why I'm using that one. And then depending on if you're making a soft mask with the ribbon ties or a stiff mask with a stick, you'll either need some ribbon and a hole puncher, like I used for the soft one, or like a chopstick or a skewer or a piece of dowel and your hot glue gun. And of course, some fabric. I'm going to go ahead and move my camera here real quick so you can see what I am doing, and we will get started. All right, so I've got the stiff Phoomph here. It comes with different colors. I don't know how well you can see. This has a blue core. I also have it in pink and black and white. So anything that shows in between will be that color. You do see a little bit of it in the finished product. So if you buy one that coordinates with your fabric, that's the best way to go. And it's kind of like a big sticker. Peel off the backing. I'm going to lay out. I pre-cut my two pieces of fabric to the approximate size of the sheet of Phoomph. I'm going to put this one, the back side of the fabric, facing up. And I'm just going to very carefully lay my Phoomph across it, press it down. I'm going to flip it over and very carefully smooth it out, press it on there really well. And it will adhere it permanently. It does come in different adhesives. This one is a permanent adhesive on both sides. So make sure it adheres nicely and it doesn't have any, got a couple little wrinkles there. Work those out. Now I'm just going to repeat the same thing with the second side of the sheet of Phoomph. And got another fabric. As you can tell, I have a lot of blues and greens in my fabric collection. So that's what I'm using. This would also be really cute if you did it with like animal prints or any fabric that you have in your stash, really. Smooth that side out, and there we have it. Those two pieces of fabric are now permanently bonded to the piece of Phoomph. So now we're going to take our template and I'm going to give it a quick trace here, right around the outside edge. You don't need a really thick, heavy line, just enough that you'll be able to follow it with the scissors. And almost there. Now, if you're doing this with young kids, they might need help with the tracing and the cutting. Something to keep in mind, especially when we get to cutting out the eye holes. We've got that traced on. I'm going to give it a rough cut here to make this easier to handle. And set aside this excess bit of fabric Phoomph for another project. Then very carefully I'm going to follow around on the inside of that line I just drew. And make sure you cut on the inside of the line so that none of the pen marks show on the finished product here. Cut very carefully. You see this cuts very, very easily, and because it adheres so well to the fabric, the edges don't fray. So even though this is just, these are from fat quarters of some quilting cotton that I bought, so even though this is a material that would normally fray pretty much the minute you start doing this, this Phoomph is absolutely wonderful in that it stops it from doing that, and you don't have to go around and fray check the edges or anything like that. So super duper easy. Almost there. And this is all there is to it, really, is just putting the fabric onto the Phoomph and then tracing and cutting. Cutting the outside part is the easier part. Cutting the eye holes is a little bit trickier because cutting them with scissors can be very, very difficult. So I recommend that the easiest way to cut out the eye holes is with a craft knife. I really like this particular craft knife because it's a precision tip craft knife. What it is you can see it gives you complete control over the blade. I really like that. So I will spare you the having to watch me with cutting out the eye holes because it's kind of dull. I'm sure you can imagine getting from here to here. For this one, when I was done, I took my hole punch and I just punched holes right next to the eyes on either side so that I could tie some ribbon through it. And I just fed the ribbon through, gave it a little knot on each side there, and make sure you leave yourself a long enough tail of ribbon that you can tie it when you get it around to the back side. These actually could have been just a wee bit longer. I'd say that these are about 1.5 feet long after I tied the knots. You're probably going to want them at least twice as long. I would say cut about 3 feet. It's going to be better to have extra than not enough. So you can always trim it down later. Now with this one, you can see this one's the soft one, but the wrap around the stiff one doesn't have quite as that flex to it. So this will be perfect for gluing to a chopstick or something to make into like a masquerade type mask. And there are infinite possibilities with this stuff. I think with my leftovers, I have a whole bunch of, obviously the rest of the sheet, about 2/3 of the sheet left from that. So you could make more masks. It would be a great project for like a birthday party or something like that because you can mass produce it pretty easily. Mine, I think I'm actually going to take and cut just little triangles and glue them to some twine and use them to make a little bunting to go across the top of my bulletin board. So yeah, endless possibilities with this stuff. If you'd like to see more crafts with Phoomph this week, we're doing a whole bunch of kids crafts with it over at Crafty Hangouts. Several other bloggers also received some, so head over to craftyhangouts.com, see what everybody else has been up to with their Phoomph. Go check this stuff out. It's absolutely amazing. If you have way too much fabric on your hands and you don't like to sew, I don't know how that ever works out that happens, but it does very frequently. So excellent product. And make sure you check out my blog, Mrs. Green, and subscribe to my YouTube channel while you're here, because I'll be back again very shortly with more great ideas for you guys. So thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you later.